Good evening, everyone. We'll call the City Council to order at 8 o'clock on Monday, September 27th, 2021. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. There are 18 items on this evening's agenda, and I will ask the city clerk to please read agenda item number 1.
Minutes, City Council meeting, September 13th, 2021.
Council Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and second to accept and place on file the minutes. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It is approved, unanimous. Agenda item number 2.
Now is the time for the continued public hearing on the petition for Massachusetts Electric and Verizon New England to install a new jointly owned pole number 1575 at 181 Cedar Hill Street, order number 21-100 8374A.
Okay, this public hearing will be conducted in 4 stages. First, public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant. Then questions from the public speaking in opposition, and then questions from the city councilors. And I will ask any member of the public speaking to please state their name and address. So I'll open the first part of the public hearing with the public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant. Al? Sure, Al.
Thank you. Al Galvin, Design Engineer, National Grid, Hopedale office.
Just give a quick rundown of what this project
Sure.
is, Al.
Yep, this is a new pole for a new transformer that's needed to feed EV electrical charging station at 181. And the 2 opposite-sided poles that it's in between already have current underground equipment attached to them. So that was the need due to location of where the charging stations are going to be situated and the fact that those other poles already had equipment on them. That was the reason for the new pole.
Thank you, Al. Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Are there any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Any questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Any questions from the city councilors? Hearing none, I'll close that part of the public hearing and the entire public hearing, and this is in public service. Al, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Agenda item number 3.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the petition from Crown Castle NG East LLC to install underground conduit on Crowley Drive and Fitchburg Street, order number 21-100 8392.
Okay, so to the last one, this public hearing will be taken in 4 stages, starting with the public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and questions from the city councilors. And I'll ask any member of the public speaking to please state the name and address for the record. I'll start with public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant.
Hi, Steve Cresamano, Crown Castle, 1800 West Park Drive,
Thank you.
Westboro.
Thanks, Steve. So you want to just give a quick overview of what the
Sure.
project is, Steve?
What Crown
Thanks.
Castle is trying to do right now is 92 Crawley Drive in Marlborough is Resilience Boston Inc. We're installing a fiber optic cable to them for high-speed internet and data. This will require a dig approximately 1,377 feet of 2-inch conduit that will be laid on the side of Crawley Drive, not through Crawley Drive, just to be clear. And that will go all the way to Fitchburg Street and back to the customer at 92 Crawley. The only road crossings will be on Fitchburg Street and in front of 92 Crawley. That's it.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yep.
Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Councilor Doucette?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just one question to the applicant. You said that's crossing over Crowley Drive at one spot and then crossing over Fitchburg Street?
Yeah, actually, you know what? We changed that plan. It's not crossing Fitchburg Street. We're actually hitting a pole on the other side. There was a pole there. So that's what my plan should show. It should be a revised plan.
Okay, okay. No, that's fine. I just wanted clarification with that. When you go across Crowley Drive, are you actually going to dig through, or are you going to
So
drill?
we're going to try to send what they call a missile. It's a hydraulic missile underneath. Depending on how the utilities mark out,
Yeah.
if it's too dangerous, then we're going to try to, we'll just go with the open trench.
Okay,
And it should be, 8 to 10 inches wide, but it's whatever the DPW or whatever you guys tell us for, is necessary for restoration, we'll do.
okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Any other questions from the councilors? Councilor Oram?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question related to the bike trail and the sidewalk there.
Yes.
Will there be any interruption to those during the process of the construction of this conduit?
There probably will be, we'll have to direct people around, and we do have a traffic management plan as well. The crews will have cones and stuff. The project should be fairly quick, though, because they use a tractor with like a plow on it instead of, open trenching. They actually just, it's called a vibe plow, and it just goes right in the ground and just goes and goes and goes. So it'll happen pretty quickly.
Okay. And just as long as you're recognizing any interruption to try to make a different pathway, that's all.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other questions from the councilors? Councilor Roby?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my understanding Crowley Drive is a private drive with the cost of maintaining it by the people on the site. So if there's any work that interrupts the pavement that's there and you have to repave, is Resilience willing to pay the cost
Absolutely.
by themselves?
We will. And I did speak with
For you?
Richard Lodi. He's the president of the association, and we actually walked the whole job last week. So he was pretty happy with what I had to say, and we'll take any, extra charges, if something happens, we absorb that.
Okay, and I would think that because nobody is here from the association opposed, that's a good sign.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Any other questions from the councilors? Councilor Landers?
Just quickly, Mr. President, I will schedule a public service meeting as soon as possible to get working on both of these.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Landers. Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Any questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Again, this is in public services. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thanks. Thank you.
Agenda item number 4.
Communication from the mayor regarding gift acceptance in the amount of $250,000 from the Marlborough Public Library Foundation to be used to offset costs related to the library renovations.
Councilor Irish?
Thank you, Mr. President. With well-deserved fanfare and enthusiasm, I'd like to thank the Marlborough Public Library Foundation for the gift and support to the city. Also, would like to wish them great success going forward with their fundraising efforts for the project and going forward with the library. Motion to approve the gift.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the gift. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. The gift is approved. Thank you to the Marlborough Public Library Foundation. Agenda item number 5.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $8,312.50, which moves funds from reserved TNC surcharge to capital outlay police for the purchase of additional traffic enforcement equipment.
Councilor Irish?
Thank you, Mr. President. Like it states in the letter from the mayor, the city must file a report with the state identifying the objects that, equipment that they'll be purchasing with these funds. Motion to approve the transfer in the amount of $8,312.50.
Motion made and seconded to approve the transfer. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved, unanimous. Agenda item number 6.
Communication from the mayor regarding proposed order to authorize the purchase of 100 Lock Drive for the purpose of building a new fire station, and a transfer request in the amount of $5,092,666.66 from stabilization to land acquisition to fund the proposed purchase.
Counsel Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion's been made and second to refer to the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion on the motion? Counsel Orem.
We're all aware we received a letter from the property owner's attorney. I would ask in finance if we could listen to them, give them a couple minutes to say their piece. I think that would be appropriate. Through you, Mr. President, to the chairman. Would that be within the confines of the meeting you're planning,
I will, thank you,
if I may?
thank you, Mr. Council Orm. I will certainly consider it, though it is a Finance Committee and not a public hearing. But certainly, I will certainly consider that, absolutely, Council.
Well-
Because we want to be transparent, we want to go forward with this and have all the information, so absolutely, I will consider that.
On that note, if I may, then I would ask that the letter from the attorney be read into the public record on this meeting.
I'll ask the city clerk to read the letter from the attorney.
Communication to City Council regarding 100 Lock Drive. Honorable President Ossing and councilors, this firm has been engaged to represent Irula LLC, the record title holder of the property known as and located at 100 Lock Drive, Marlborough, Mass. Please direct all future correspondence and inquiries related to the potential taking by eminent domain of the property to me. You may continue to correspond, including email, to Daniel White, Esquire, and Meredith Caboris, Esquire. It is my understanding that the city and my client have had several discussions about the city's interest in acquiring the property. The most recent conversation was a call last week with the city solicitor, during which Irula was informed that the city will start the statutory procedure under Mass General Law, Chapter 79, the eminent domain statute, to take the property by eminent domain by having the property appraised. Actually, it was only today that we received the email from the city's appraiser seeking to schedule an inspection, which we agreed to immediately. It is difficult, however, to trust the fairness and integrity of the city's appraisal process upon learning today that even before the appraiser has had a chance to see the property, the city council is voting tonight to authorize paying Irula $5,092,666.66. See City Council Agenda, September 27, 2021, item number 6. The property will not be sold to the city for $5 million. Under Chapter 79, but more importantly, in accordance with the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution of the United States and Article 10 of the Declaration of Rights to the Massachusetts Constitution, the city is required to pay full, fair market value as just compensation. The fair market value of the property far exceeds $5 million. Moreover, under Chapter 79A, the city is required to provide relocation assistance and pay the cost to relocate all items of personal property in addition to the value of the real estate. We have had no communication from the city regarding relocation. Irula will resist any effort to forcibly displace us from this property until a suitable relocation facility is found and relocation costs are accounted for. While Irula has no interest in selling the property, the owner and its advisors are sophisticated business people with deep real estate experience. They would have been prepared to engage in negotiations with the city in good faith. Regrettably, with this calculated action, the city appears to have decided to put an end to that option and will proceed with the taking and the costly adversarial lawsuit to follow. Respectfully, we urge the council to table action on item number 6. It is irresponsible to vote on it is irresponsible to vote to authorize expenditure of $5 million in taxpayer money without the benefit of appraisal. Once the appraisal is complete, and if the city wants to resume negotiations in good faith, Irula is prepared to do so. Very truly yours, James D. Masterman.
Mr. President, thank you for having that read into the record. I would just ask that we get as much information from our city appraiser prior to our Finance Committee meeting. Thank you, Mr. President.
So again, as a point of information to the councilors, statutorily, we're only allowed to be able to go what the last 3 assessed values of the property are, times 1.25%, hence your $5 million. Now, if they think their property is worth much more than that, I'm looking for the assessors doing that, and we'll tax them accordingly if that's truly the case, which I'm okay with. That's fine, all right? But we're not buying, we haven't bought anything. This is just going to the Finance Committee for discussion. So, right, because in order for us to buy the property, if it comes to eminent domain, it has to have an eminent domain taking. None of that is before the council at this point in time. Right, everybody clear? Okay, Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yeah, this is a fine mess we got ourselves into. But I understand why their concern is. I wish it didn't come with this type of response. But I was always under the assumption that this would be a subdivision of that property. If you look at the property, it includes the building at 100 Lock Drive, but it was basically, oh, we'll just take off the parking lot that's in the back or something like that. That was the impression I was getting in some of the conversations. I may have been wrong. But the company that is at 100 Lock Drive has been there for well over 30 years, and I don't think they have any intention of moving. So I wouldn't want to see them move either. But I think they might be open for a piece of it to finish it and not the whole property. So that's I'd like to get that clarified from the mayor, whether or not we're going for the whole thing or just a subdivision of it. Thank you.
Anyone else? On the motion to refer to the Finance Committee, all those in favor? Opposed? One, it is approved, 9-1, to go to Finance. Agenda item number 7.
Communication from Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding the petition of Cellco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, for the installation of a small cell wireless facility to be located on the existing pole within the public right-of-way at 123 Boston Post Road West, pole number 7, in proper legal form, order number 21-100, 8355.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please move this down to item 16.
Motion made and second to move this item down to agenda item number 16. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I just want to make a comment about the next 3 items on the agenda. This seems to be following a pattern, and I think they're doing an outstanding job presenting the information, working it through committee. It's a nice, clean package, and I got to compliment everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. On the motion, anything else? On the motion to refer to agenda item number 16, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 8.
Communication from Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding petition of Cellco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, for the installation of a small cell wireless facility to be located on the existing pole within the public right-of-way at 493 Boston Post Road West, pole number 1, in proper legal form, order number 21-100, 8356.
Councilor Landers.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Again, let's move this down to item 17.
Motion made and seconded to move this item down to agenda item number 17. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 9.
Communication from Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding the petition of Cellco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, for the installation of a small cell wireless facility to be located on replacement pole within the public right-of-way at 11 Atkinson Drive, pole number 22. The pole is located on Ames Street, in proper legal form, order number 21-100, 8357.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can we move this down to item 18?
Motion's made and seconded to move this item down to agenda item number 18. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 10.
Communication from City Clerk Stephen Kerrigan regarding the proposed re-precincting map and census block data.
Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to move to the re-precinct committee.
Motion is made and seconded to move to the re-precincting committee. Is there any discussion on the motion? I will mention that the committee is chaired by Councilor Dumas, Vice Chair Councilor Wagner, and the final committee member is Councilor Irish. And I'm sure we'll hear soon when the meetings are going to be.
Wednesday at 7:30.
Wednesday at 7:30. Thank you very much, Councilor Dumas. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It is referred to the re-precincting committee on a unanimous vote. Agenda item number 11.
Communication from the Planning Board regarding a favorable recommendation on the proposed zoning amendment to Chapter 650, Section 5 and 8, Section 1836, by adding hobby vehicle storage as a warehousing use in the limited industrial district, order number 21-100, 8344.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the Planning Board communication. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 12.
Communication from Attorney Peter Tam regarding proposed master concept plan and development agreement for the campus at Marlborough within the Results Way Mixed-Use Overlay District.
Counselor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to refer to Urban Affairs.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Urban Affairs Committee. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 13.
Communication from the Massachusetts State Lottery Commission regarding the installation of a Keno to-go monitor at Monty's Mini Market, 274 Maple Street.
Counselor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think as we get more and more of these, the council, or at least I, am becoming more aware of the process and what is involved in having these. So I will remind you, in June of this year, we did have a communication sent where we said that we had no objection to Keno to go at a couple of gas stations, but that our objection was a Keno monitor, and I would move that same type of letter be sent to the Lottery Commission for this site. I will also note that the site is no longer Monty's Mini Market, and hopefully the lottery knows that. It is now, I believe, Route 85 Liquors. But I'm sure they'll figure that out. So the same kind of communication that can be sent by the president to the lottery, that Keno to go is one thing, but a Keno monitor is an objection we would have. Thank you.
So motion is made and seconded to have the president send a letter to the Lottery Commission to say that we are not endorsing the monitor at Monty's, i.e. Route 85 Liquors. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 14.
Minutes of boards, commissions, and committees.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file the minutes of the boards, commissions, and committees.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 15.
Claims.
Mr. President?
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much. Motion to submit claims to the legal department.
Motion made and seconded to submit the claims to the legal department. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Reports of committee. We'll start with personnel.
Oh, well, thank you. All righty. Personnel met on September 20th. We started at 6:15. Everyone was in chambers. We had two items on the agenda. Order number 21-18365, the appointment of Linda Warren to the Council of Aging for a 3-year term. It was motioned by Councilor Doucette and a second by Councilor Landers. It was approved 3-0. Second item is order number 21-18271. It's appointment of Joan Valad as principal assessor for a 3-year term. Motion made by Councilor Doucette, seconded by the chair, and it was approved 3-0. And we adjourned at 6:32. I have another item that I would like to discuss, and if I could have a suspension for a letter from the mayor, if we can get that on the record.
Councilor Dumas is asking a request to suspend the rules to accept the correspondence from the mayor on the collector. All those in favor of the suspension? Suspension is approved. Councilor Dumas,
Would you like me to read the letter?
would the clerk please read the letter from the mayor?
Dear Honorable President and Councilors, I am submitting for your approval the appointment of Christopher Fioricano as City Collector Assistant Director of Finance for a 3-year term to expire upon date of confirmation. Mr. Fioricano has 10 years of experience in a municipal finance capacity, with the last 4 as Assistant Treasurer Collector for the town of Westboro, and has been exposed to all facets in the Collector's office. I am confident that his experience and aptitude to provide exemplary customer service will be an asset in this important office. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank Jeff Kerrigan, who has been holding the office together while we have been attempting to fill numerous open positions. While Mr. Kerrigan has been with the city for a short time, he has done an outstanding job. Mr. Fioricano will serve on an interim basis until such time as his appointment is confirmed by the council. Thank you in advance for your consideration. Sincerely, Arthur G. Vigent, Mayor.
Must be because you're such a good dad. Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sure the city clerk will work his magic to get us an order number in an interim. I would like to refer this to personnel.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Personnel Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Let's go to Urban Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the Urban Affairs Committee also met on September 20th. We had 2 orders on our agenda. Order number 21-108-344, a communication from Attorney Falk on behalf of Marlborough Industrial LLC regarding a proposed zoning amendment to Chapter 650, Section 5, and Section 1836 by adding hobby vehicle storage as a warehousing use in the limited industrial district. We had discussion on a letter we received from a proposed tenant on the site, and with that, there was some concerns raised, and this is postponed in committee. We are scheduled for a meeting on Wednesday to take this matter back up again. The next item was order number 21-108-372, a request for approval of 2 flat roof signs, Val's Plaza, 561 Boston Post Road East in the Wayside District. There were 2 signs being discussed, one for a value storage and one for a sign that would read store for rent. Both of them are illuminated, therefore that's why they were in front of the council. After much discussion, there was a motion to approve both of them. The motion carried 5-0, and this will lay on the table until our next meeting.
Thank you, Councilman. You want to take legislative and legal since you've got the floor?
I will do that.
Thank you very much.
So Legislative and Legal Affairs also met on Monday. There was one item on the agenda, order number 21-108-394, a communication from Michelle Guadagnino and Michael Tutterman, requesting to transfer and renew for an additional 5-year term the license for parking on city property by the owners of 56 Emmett Street. There was a motion to recommend approval of the transfer of the license. The vote carried 3-0, and there is a request this evening to suspend so this can go to the solicitor to be put in proper form.
The motion to suspend the rules. All those in favor of suspending the rules? Suspension is approved. Council Roby.
Move to refer this to the solicitor to be put in proper form for the next meeting.
Motion made and seconded to refer this item to the solicitor, put in proper form for our next meeting, which is next Monday. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? It is approved unanimously. Public service.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Service Committee also met on the 20th. We took up 2 items that night. The first order was number 21-1008-375. This is a petition from Mass Electric to replace direct burial cable with cable conduit using the direct drill method on Fereckia Drive. There was discussion from our city engineer, also Mr. Moran from National Grid. It'll go pretty well in the neighborhood. They will be drilling under driveways and any other intersection they need to do. And they mentioned that it's a lot shorter time than if you went to traditional. So we're dying to watch this closely. They did one actually in my ward, and it worked out pretty well. So, on a motion by Councilor Perlman to recommend approval of this petition, second by Irish, approved 3-0. The second item we took up that night was order number 21-1008-373. And this was a petition from National Grid and Verizon to install new jointly owned pole number 15-5, 45-2, and permission for National Grid to solely install a 9411, install 3 50K transformers and 3 15K cutouts, install a riser berm connected to the customer's underground at 121. And we did have a lot of discussion. Mr. Moran from National Grid kind of indicated what they need, what we need to really get moving on that gas station, which I think we all have the desire to do. We had our city engineer, Tom DePercio, and he was quite upfront that he really didn't want the third pole. But in discussion, in fact, we met that afternoon at 1 o'clock, just before the meeting, that we came to the conclusion they needed that pole. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. The other pole wouldn't, hold the equipment. And I think the big thing is here that the city engineer will work closely with the contractor for the placement of that pole, and it'll go off in running. So we basically okay, Mr. Moran kind of, I think, got us all moving on that. So, based on a motion by Council Perlman to recommend approval of this petition, second by Council Irish, it was approved 3-0. Now, Mr. President, what I would like is a suspension of rules, but we can vote on this item to get moving on that. And I might as well include Recchia Drive on that too. I think, in all fairness, get that moving in that neighborhood. So the suspension would be that we vote for a suspension, and that we can vote and then approve at these next meeting, which is hard to believe, this next Monday, right?
The chair has asked for suspension for both items. All those in favor of suspension of the rules for both items? Suspension is approved. Mr. Chairman, which would you like to take first?
One more time?
Which one would you like to take first?
Well, we might as well take Recchia Drive, go right down there.
Motion made and seconded to approve the underground conduit on Ferecchia Drive. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved unanimously. Mr. Chairman.
We will do Council Order 21-1008-373. That's the 121 Bolton Street.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the poll at 121 Bolton Street. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Thank you, Councilor Landers. Next up, we have Finance.
Thank you.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Committee met on September 20th, 2021 at 8:03 p.m. We had 7 items on the agenda that evening. First item was order number 21-100-8389, a transfer of $93,243 from reserve for salaries to sick leave buyback and longevity to fund retirements in DPW and Police Department. Motion by Council Orm, seconded by the chair. It carried 5-0. Next item was order number 21-100-8390, transfer of $70,645 from Assistant Building Commissioner to Contract Services to fund additional resources in the Building Department. Motion by Council Orm, seconded by the chair. It carried 5-0. Next item was order number 21-100-8367A, proposed addition to Chapter 125-6, Salary Ordinance, City Collector/Assistant Director of Finance, together with proposed amendment to Chapter 67-11A to provide for alternative appointment by the mayor. Motion by Council Orm, seconded by the chair. It carried 5-0. Next item was order number 21-100-8367B, proposed job description, City Collector/Assistant Director of Finance. Motion by Council Perlman, seconded by the chair to adopt that. It carried 5-0. Next item was order number 21-100-8368A, proposed amendment to City Code DPW to insert Section 7-31D, Assistant Commissioners to create new position. Assistant Commissioner of Facilities to be appointed by DPW, Commissioner term to be coterminous with the Commissioner. Motion by Councilor Orm, seconded by the Chair to approve that amendment. It carried 5-0. Next item was order number 21-100 8368B, proposed job description, Assistant Commissioner of Facilities, motion by Councilor Dumas, seconded by the chair to recommend that proposed job description, carried 5-0. Next item was order number 21-100-8369, proposed salary ordinance, police chief, fire chief, no steps, minimum, maximum $200,000, effective July 1st, 2021. Motion by Councilor Tenera, seconded by the chair to approve that salary, amended salary. It carried 5-0. Meeting adjourned at 9:12 p.m., and I will be asking for 3 suspensions this evening.
Okay, so we'll take them up in the order that you have them on the agenda.
Yes.
Counselor Irish, so the first one, you're looking for a suspension of the rules for order number 100-8367A, which is a salary ordinance and title change for the collector, assistant finance director. On the suspension of the rules, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Counselor Irish.
Yes, recommendation of committee is to approve the a proposed addition to Chapter 125-6, salary ordinance to city collector / assistant director of finance, together with proposed amendment to Chapter 67-11A to provide alternative appointment by the mayor.
All right, so this is an ordinance change. It has to go through the 4 steps. Is there any discussion on the motion that's been made and seconded for the salary ordinance change and the Chapter 67-11A change to the collector / assistant finance director? No discussion? All right, hearing that, we'll go through the 4 stages. We'll take them both up at the same time, but just as a point of reference, the salary change requires 8 votes. The title change only is an ordinance change, but only requires 6. So if 8 votes gets it, then both will pass. Everybody good? All right, so for the salary ordinance for Chapter 125-6 for the collector and assistant director and Chapter 67A for the title change, there's been a motion made and approved for the ordinance. All those in favor of suspending the first reading and approving the second reading? All those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. All those in favor? It does that to my computer and I lose it when it doesn't like that. All those in favor of the passage to be enrolled? All in favor? Opposed? It is approved. All those in favor of the passage to be ordained? All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Is there any objection to passage in one evening? Seeing none, both ordinance changes are approved. Next one, we have the chair is looking for a suspension of the rules for order 100-8368A. The motion for the suspension. All those in favor of suspending the rules? It is unanimous. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. A recommendation of committee is to approve the proposed amendment to City Code DPW to insert Section 7-31D to Assistant Commissioner to create a new position, Assistant Commissioner of Facilities, to be appointed by the DPW Commissioner, term to be coterminous with the Commissioner.
Motion made and seconded to approve the ordinance change. Again, it's an ordinance change, so it has to go through the 4 stages. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve the ordinance change? Seeing none, I will go through the 4 stages. All those in favor of suspending the first reading and approving the second? All in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. All those in favor of the passage to be enrolled? All those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. All those in favor of the passage to be ordained? All those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Is there any objection to passage in one evening? Seeing none, the ordinance change is approved. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I believe the next one would be order number...
He's got to read what he wants first. Yeah, okay, yep. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the next one, Mr. President, is order number 21-100-8369.
Yep, so motion to suspend, the chair's asked for suspension of the rules for order number 100-8369 on the salary ordinance for the police chief and fire chief. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? The suspension is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Recommendation of committee is to amend the salary ordinance to police chief and fire chief to up to $200,000 effective July 1st, 2021.
There's been a motion made and seconded to approve the maximum salary up to $200,000 for the police chief and fire chief. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, again, this is an ordinance change, has to go through the 4 stages, and since it's salary, it's 8 votes to pass. All those in favor of suspending the first reading and approving the second, signify. That is approved unanimously. All those in favor of the passage to be enrolled? All those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. All those in favor of the passage to be ordained? All those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Is there any objection to passage in one evening? Seeing none, the ordinance change is approved. All set? Okay, agenda item number 16.
Order number 21-100, 8355C, petition of Cellco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, for the installation of a small cell wireless facility to be located on the existing pole number 7 within the public right-of-way at 123 Boston Post Road West. Recommendation of the Public Services Committee is to approve.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the small cell site at 173 Boston Post Road West. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Agenda item 17.
Order number 21-100, 8356C, petition of Cellco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, for a small cell wireless installation to be located on existing pole number 1 within the public right-of-way at 493 Boston Post Road West. The recommendation of the Public Services Committee is to approve.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the small cell site at 493 Boston Post Road West, pole number 1. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 18.
Order number 21-100, 8357C, petition of Cellco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, for small cell wireless installation to be located on a replacement pole number 22 within the public right-of-way at 11 Atkinson Drive. The pole is on Ames Street. Recommendation of the Public Services Committee is to approve.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the small cell site at 11 Atkinson Drive. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved unanimously. Councilor Dumas.
Motion to adjourn.
Well done. Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:43. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.